Hello, guys, and welcome to the first edition of the Live with Leverage broadcast. I'm here with Barath, Jerry, Shashank, and Swapman. We're going to basically wait around 5 minutes to see if anyone extra will join the broadcast. Thank you all for being here, and hope you guys enjoy. So, thank you very much, guys, for joining us. Currently 12 of you here. Please do ask questions throughout the presentations. They'll be answered at the end of each section. So, I will go ahead now and introduce Barath, who will be the first speaker.
Welcome all to Leverage product webinar. we are trying to give a more comprehensive view of what we've been doing. In this update, we won't be able to go deeply into everything because there are so many different areas where we're giving an update. What we will do is, over the upcoming webinars, we will try to have detailed presentations into each area of our operations. So without further ado, let me pass it on to Swapman to do the product innovation update.
Thanks, Bharat. So I'm going to focus mostly on the sort of financial engineering design and development that we have done. And the first phase that is going to be coming out next month is focused on ERC20 spot markets, and it's also going to be the first implementation of the FEE token system and being able to pay for trading fees with the secondary token in the Leverj system. And so one of the spot products we are going to be launching the next month is the an addition of stablecoin, but not the DAI synthetic sort of fiat stablecoin tokens, but the ones that actually hold US dollar balances behind the token. So that would include Tether or True USD, which is a newer sort of Tether competitor, that they have actual ERC20 tokens. So they have just a normal Ethereum smart contract that is handling the management of the Tether and True USD. And this allows then for trustless swapping of the tokens in ETH terms. And what we are going to then do is make it so it's just like a normal Ether dollar pair, as if you're on any other centralized exchange or Poloniex. So we'll just invert the price of the ERC20 token of Tether or True USD, and this will then show the quoted price that people are used to, like ETH USD 500 or 600, 700, instead of the per token price. And so that'll allow you to do fully trustless trading of essentially fiat pairs in Ether through the Leverj hybrid system. And this will also then, by next month, be able to then actually use the FEE tokens and stake the Lev tokens in order to receive them. And so it'll just be a normal coupon system in the start, but where if you're holding FEE tokens in your account that you're trading with on the platform, then any fees will be able to be deducted from the FEE tokens rather than an ETH balance that you're using. Down the line, not in the first implementation, we're going to have like an auto buy function. So everybody, we're going to have the FEE ETH order book connected to the platform. So everybody who is trading, who has the ability to pay less fees by buying the FEE tokens, would automatically be buying it. So it provides a nice flow of demand all the time for FEE tokens. So anybody who's staking and receiving this will have a reliable flow of demand to sell into, so there's a proper market facilitated for it. And the other side of things, later on in the summer, we're going to be introducing maybe early fall, we're going to be introducing the futures and derivatives trading. And the two main types of contracts that we're going to be launching are inverse, so you can do a perfect fiat hedge, so Ether dollar, where you're using ETH as collateral, the payouts are inverse, so that it increases the profit as the price is going down to compensate for the reduction in the collateral value. So you're always matching the perfect USD or Euro or any other fiat hedge value in the symbol that you are trading. The other type is just a normal linear payout, which we're going to use probably for like ERC20 tokens like Lev, where you can use ETH still as collateral, so you're still just using Ether, and you can long or short Lev tokens, for example, Lev ETH, you can long or short that with margin. And one last thing I'll mention before passing it off is that if you combine this inverse fiat contract type with the linear contract type, you can actually, using only ETH, you can make a perfect US dollar value hedge of an ERC20 token without the ERC20 token actually having a US dollar pair or any liquidity. You just have to synthesize the actual ETH pair with the ETH USD pair, and this gives you the equivalent in payout. So this is sort of what we are cooking up for the financial products for both the spot and future side of things this year. And now I will pass it off to, I think, Shashank.
Thanks, Swap. In case there are any questions, we can take some around the product. Swap can address them. Otherwise, we can jump right in and start talking about what's happening on the R&D side, right? What is it that's cooking? What is it that is getting ready soon to go live? So a lot of you have been asking us. So let me first check. Any questions before I kind of move on? Okay,
yeah, happy to answer any questions regarding any of the financial products on either spot side of things or the futures that are coming late summer, fall.
Okay, so we'll continue, but please don't hesitate. If you guys want to ask any questions, you can just post it up there, and we'll jump right in and make sure we address it. Okay, so the fun development update. So what's going on? I know a lot of you have been asking this question on our channels, and certainly it's all great and exciting because all of you would like to get hold of the product and start using it. So this is essentially a little peek into where we are with respect to our development, with respect to our product, and how soon could you get hold of at least a beta early access version that you can start using. So first things first, building an exchange, building a trustless exchange which can work at scale and work in a stable way, which is safe, which is what you all are looking for. Obviously takes time and needs a lot of diligence. And so the first thing that we have been doing at Leverj over the last multiple months is incrementally increasing our team because we need more hands on deck. We need people who are experts in various parts of developing this product. So what started out as a couple of people has now grown into a 7-member team, and that continues to grow. And certainly if you are one of those who's super interested in this domain or has great experience or is an outstanding engineer, please reach out to us. We would love to hear from you and perhaps include you as a part of our team. Now, what we have done more specifically is that I myself joined about multiple weeks back now and have been heads down contributing towards building the product. And there are, of course, the usual folks that you're all familiar with, Bharat and Nirmal and Swap and Benny, who have been working on this for a bit. In addition to that, we enrolled help from a couple of experts. We engaged with a company called Wingtails, which specializes in experience design. We want to make sure that our consumers have the best of breed design experience and they really enjoy as they use this product. So we've engaged with them, and what you all saw a couple of webinars back in terms of the nice layouts that Swap shared, those are being realized, those are being implemented. So we made some great progress there, and these guys have certainly helped us in that context as well. Similarly, on the front-end technologies, we want to up our game. We want to be on a secure, more scalable and fast platform. So we're going with React, and we've also getting some help in addition to the core team. We're getting some help from again an external set of experts called solution analysts who have built a lot of extremely interesting and good mobile apps as well as web front ends. So the team is growing and there's a lot of work going on there. Now, moving on from the team growth, which of course is very fundamental to achieving things, what I want to share is where are we with respect to our product, right? And I think the one bit that hopefully catches your attention right away is the little tag right at the bottom, which says early access in the next 6 weeks. So with that in light, for all of you or any one of you who've built any product, you realize that a short time frame of a couple of months is fairly aggressive. But what we are trying to do is we are very optimistic. We are heads down, and we are working hard and working smart to make sure that we ship something that you all can get hold of within the next few weeks. So 6 weeks is somewhere around mid to end May, pardon me. And in that May timeframe is when I think you will, of course, have more definitive announcement for us in terms of what that early access to beta program looks like. Now, where are we in terms of what we have achieved today, right? Like, what is it that we have completed? So there are 4 buckets where work is going on today. All those 4 buckets are super important, and we've had some good progress on all of those dimensions. I already spoke about the revised UI. Many of you have had a chance to look at what the new UI is going to look like. If you don't recall or are curious, of course, reach out to us, or look at some of our previous webinars, go to other blogs, and they really illustrate details of what the new screens would look like. So you get a sense of what's being realized, what's coming. Then, of course, an exchange cannot function without flawlessly working through order execution and settlement and the usual mechanics of course, placing and canceling orders. We are a futures leveraged exchange, as the name itself says. However, our first offering is going to be really more about spot trading, which is what Swap also mentioned a few minutes back. So on the spot trading front, we have made a lot of progress. A lot of the core functions and features have been implemented, and now we are at that phase where we are making sure it's all sort of integrated well and working well together without any kinks or flaws that should be there as we go live. Then the other 2 dimensions, which are very important from a Ethereum standpoint and a blockchain standpoint, is the smart contracts themselves, which help us run our trustless exchange, and then the scalability on that platform. So as far as the contracts go, I've just listed 3 of them here, or rather 3 areas. One is staking, the second is custodian, and the third one is registry. If you have attended some of the webinars, you've probably heard about the zero knowledge API keys. The registry is the contract that sort of interacts and manages that part of the spectrum in terms of a trustless authentication, where you own essentially your own credentials and your authentication. In that part of the spectrum, I would highly encourage, if you haven't, go back again, look at some of our blog posts, look at our previous webinars, and I'm pretty sure you would be, not only be excited about it, but be extremely sort of in favor of what we are proposing as a zero knowledge API key. So I highly encourage that. Go back, look at it, and give us feedback. Let us know what you think of that. Now, staking also is something that we demoed in our last webinar. If you would like to see how staking works, which is very fundamental to our leverage economics or economics on our platform, that's again something that you can go back and look at that bit. Now, the custodian is sort of the fundamental keeper, which would keep us all honest, or it is sort of the arbiter, if you may, where sort of all the parties come together. So deposits, withdrawals, and all other mechanics will be managed by the custodian. We will certainly share more details about how that works in the upcoming webinars, but that is something where we are progressing very well. We have implemented the essential flows and now really working on some of the models which relate with overall sort of decentralized scalability and fraud proof. So let me sort of pause at this for a second and remind everyone that one of the fundamental bits that the whole Ethereum community is talking about is about how do we make it more scalable, and how do we make sure that we are not constrained by the sort of fraud related bits that happen if you go off chain. Now, there is a lot of innovation going on under the broader umbrella of Plasma. And what we learned is that we certainly could leverage that, but it might make sense for us to iterate on top of it and innovate on top of it to provide the kind of scalability, the kind of fraud proof that would be essential for a decentralized exchange, which is fast and reliable and scalable. So over the last multiple months now, and certainly more over the last more recent weeks, we have been spending a lot of time and energy on conceptualizing what that would look like. What would the gluon plasma look like? And we, of course, call it gluon plasma, which is a variant of the essential plasma. And what we've come up with, which we're very happy to announce, is we have come up, we believe, with a lot of the fundamental tenets that will help us achieve that goal of scalability and fraud-proof in an exchange environment. Now, I'm not going to steal the thunder here and speak to it more, because I think that's a much bigger topic for a longer discussion. So I'll certainly have our team, and certainly led by Bharat, address that in future webinars. So we will share a lot more details. At this point in time, though, we have started engaging with the community. So we are on E3 Search, and we are in the process of documenting it more formally, putting out the technical spec, putting out the the aspects of sort of mathematical rigor with mathematical proofs. And all of that is, of course, work in progress with a lot of thought behind it. And we want to share that with the community. So you will see a lot of announcements. You will see a lot of output in that dimension coming your way. And we would love for engagement there. We would love for you folks to jump in, give us feedback, ask questions, and certainly be part of that new revolution, as we would like to call it. Okay. So with that said, just a few more bits before, I'd be very happy to take more questions and delve into anything that you would want to jump in and, get into the details of. For, any engineering process, for any R&D team to work in an efficient, effective manner, it's very important that we leverage, essential things around more efficient software development lifecycle. So it's important to automate the process early on. It's important to, set up your dev test flow well, because if you don't do that, things slow down, and it's definitely not viable for us to ship something in a sort of aggressive time frame. So what we did, just having been engineers who have shipped a lot of good production quality scalable products in the past, we invested very actively in some of these engineering efficiency centric bits. So now we have, we're very happy to announce we've got, essential CI/CD in place. It's operational on every commit. Things go through the pipeline, a battery of tests are run, and we have immediate feedback. We know whether things are working or not. In addition to that, we have a QA environment, a UAT environment. So as we keep building, we have the latest and greatest available there that we are testing with and playing with. This QA and UAT environment is certainly more at this point in time for the internal team, for our product team, for our internal development team to kind of play with and get feedback. But we would also love to make it more broadly available. And what we want to do is we want to enroll the community and make sure they're part of the process as we build something that's useful for the community. And then, of course, all of this needs to get integrated with the Ethereum blockchain. And what we did early on and want to continue to do is make sure there's testnet integration, right? So it works with Ropsten and other testnet integrations. And that way, the contracts, the fraud proof, the various other flows that I spoke about can be tested early on. And something that not only us as developers and us as builders of the product can test, but even the early users can get hold of and start sort of getting a sense of what that would look like. What would staking look like? How would API keys work? How would I basically trade on this platform? So okay, that's a whole bunch of updates here. What I would like to do is pause at this point and see what you all think, or if you have any questions, or if you're curious about anything, that I would love to kind of jump in before we start talking about other aspects of the company and where we are with things.
All right, thank you, Shashank, for that update. We have a few questions. One aimed at Swapman from the Telegram from JV. They ask, why not DAI? Swapman, if you wouldn't mind answering that question.
Yeah, thanks. That's a good question. I maybe gave the wrong impression when I said not DAI, but focusing on TrueUSD and Tether. Not because we are like against DAI. I mean, it's just not much of a product innovation as such, because there's DAI markets against Ether everywhere. So I was focusing more on what we were trying to do that was a bit more innovative, because nobody's really using the Ethereum, the ERC20 tokens of TrueUSD and the new ones from Tether. So we were hoping to get them integrated into the platform as sort of more of a new approach to being able to trustlessly trade the fiat pairs against the Ether. If there's a significant demand for introducing a DAI, then we would certainly consider that. It's not something that we rule out. So.
Okay, thank you for that, Swapman. We have a question from the YouTube chat from Chris. He says, which roles do you think that are currently missing within the organization? Any areas that we're looking to recruit in specifically?
So let me just get this started with some of the R&D roles. And of course, I'd encourage other folks also, Jerry, Bharat, anyone to chime in if they think, that some other roles we should look for. So broadly, we are growing as a company, right? And we are expanding. So we certainly, are looking for smart people who have experience and flair for the world of crypto and the world of trading within the crypto domain. Now, what we're looking for more specifically is on the development side. If you are a front-end developer who is very familiar with the leading edge technologies, things like React, things like working with the Web3 APIs, understands that well, we would love to talk to you. We would love to certainly figure out if there is a match there. The other roles, yes, general product and development roles. Again, if you are, a super smart, committed, curious engineer, don't hesitate to reach out to us, right? Send us a mail at info@leverj.io, and we can start the conversation. So those are, of course, specific bits that we're always looking for. We find the right person, we won't hesitate to hire.
Yeah, I would add also, and not just engineers, but also if you're more like a quant who's not a developer, but you're into market data and algorithmic trading, stuff like that, we're also always looking for guys who are experts in that realm.
Absolutely, yeah. And then even business roles, certainly if you guys have, experience with either expanding markets or market making, or if you guys have experience in sales or, marketing or community management, like I said, we're a growing company. If you've got some chops that you want to bring on and contribute and be part of the fastest decentralized exchange, hopefully in future, we want you here.
Great. Thanks for answering that. One more question aimed at you, Shashank, by JMT in the YouTube chat. Can you share something more about how you're optimizing the trade execution system?
Sure, absolutely. Firstly, I must mention, this is a great question. And by itself, it can be a whole webinar topic, and which actually makes me think that in future, we should address some of that in terms of how we are making ourselves one of the more efficient and fast trade execution platforms. Now, what I will do for now, at least for this question, is I will provide some more high-level quick snippets of what we are trying to do. So what we're really trying to do is, first, we are trying to optimize between on-chain and off-chain activities. Right. One of the fundamental issues that happens on the blockchain and the Ethereum blockchain platform is obviously if we try to do everything on chain, we get bounded by the limitations of the chain. Right. So whether it's the time or the block or the other kind of limitations. So we certainly are taking a few things off chain. Now, the question, of course, becomes how do you make sure you maintain the fidelity and the fraud proofs when you are taking things off chain? And so that's where the first part that we're trying to do is make sure that it's algorithmically correct and make sure that it's something that is more efficient from a standpoint of fraud proof. So exactly in that realm is where Gluon Plasma comes in. We're going to announce about some of the open APIs that will become available in due course of time, where the whole community can participate and make sure that the fraud proof is maintained. Make sure that the sort of centralized ledger doesn't exist, but actually the ledger is a decentralized entity that anybody and everybody can participate in. Now, besides that, what we do is a lot of us have come with experience in the world of high frequency and just overall fast, efficient trading. Bharat spent a lot of his own career in that domain. Nirmal has worked on a lot of forex exchange stories. I spend a lot of time on Wall Street too, and Swap has as well. So what we're trying to do is we're not really reinventing the wheel. What we're looking at is the usual efficiencies that happen around some smarter queuing, some smarter internal adjustments to the trade before you kind of put it out on the execution order book, managing a fast, efficient data structure for the order book itself, and then of course making sure that the matches happen both correctly but also happen fast. So those are some of the bits that we have certainly been very diligently working on. Last but not the least, there is certainly an impact of the technology stack as well. We are using a very scalable, persistent store behind the scene to make sure that we scale as the volume scales. We are making sure that we're using the concepts of overall sort of locking and threading in a smart manner so that we don't get constrained by it. So that's what I would put at a sort of at this level at this point in time. But it's a fantastic question, and if you want to engage more in it, apart from of course a future webinar, I would also encourage reaching out on our Telegram channels and other channels, and would be very happy to share what we have been up to.
So I'd like to add a little bit of detail there.
Sure, Bharat, please.
Yeah. So the goal of the reason we are going into Plasma, we actually have a slightly different implementation of what you would see right now on ETH Research, which is we are different from Plasma MVP and Plasma Cash. We are specifically focused on being an exchange, and our goal is to have only deposits and withdrawals on chain, and everything else is off chain. So this means that for all practical purposes, you can scale as well as any centralized exchange, because that is the amount of on-chain activity they do. So that is in terms of the efficiency from a blockchain perspective, which is the biggest hurdle for any decentralized exchange in terms of scaling.
Thank you for answering that question, guys. That is all for the questions so far. Don't forget, guys, if you do want to ask any more, then please do either in the Telegram or in the YouTube chat. Now I'll pass you on to Jerry, who's going to talk a bit about the marketing behind Leverj.
Thanks, Joe. I'm excited to get a chance to share some marketing updates. There have been questions in the Telegram channel about what's up with marketing. So it's nice to have an opportunity to share. We have a lot of moving parts going on in marketing, but I'll just highlight a few today. In marketing operations, we're migrating away from MailChimp, the MailChimp email service. As many of you know, that in addition to Google and Facebook, Twitter, and a few others banning crypto-related advertising, MailChimp has stated they cannot allow any business that is involved in any aspect, including exchange of cryptocurrencies, to use MailChimp. So this is pretty understandable, as they have had so many scams, and many of these scam emails are landing in spam filters, and this could eventually hurt MailChimp's clients' overall delivery rate. So we're testing out a new service, and we'll be migrating away from MailChimp before their end of the month deadline. Let's see. We are setting up attribution and acquisition funnels in our analytics. While it's not sexy, we have to make sure that all aspects of our analytics tools are ready for launch. We want to make sure we're reaching the right people and they're navigating their way to the platform as efficiently as possible, both to ensure happy users and that we're marketing in a cost-effective manners. We're also relaunching our website, which I'm really excited about. The site you see presently at leverj.io was built for the token generation event. We are revamping it to be focused on, focused on new account acquisition and education, and it'll have an overall new, fresh look. So I'm excited about that. We are going to be attending numerous events our CEO Barath, will be part of a panel at the BTC Media hosted conference in Chicago. His panel will be discussing the role of decentralization in financial markets. He's on the panel with the CEO of Paradox and the founder of Vulcanize. I will be attending the Fluidity Conference in New York, and Barath will be attending the Consensus Conference in New York, May 13th. And please, if you are attending those, let us know. We'd love to answer any questions and meet you, for sure. Let's see. For social, we recently completed an audit of our competitors, both social and community channels. We haven't been satisfied with the growth and engagement in our own communities to date. So Joe, Veal, and I did a deep dive on what our competitors are up to and what we've done historically. And so we have some ideas what we want to do differently, and we'll be testing them out over the coming months. We also created a focus group. We want to ensure that we're not being too insular in our thinking. So we formed a group of 25 Leverj fans to get feedback on our UI, some of the marketing and promotional ideas, and we'll probably have them be beta testers for the platform as we get ready to launch. We are also going to be translating the white paper. We're looking at, many of our site visitors are located, obviously around the world, but seeing where people are coming from and seeing where our competitors have translated into these languages. So we'll be translating the white paper into Chinese, Russian, Korean, and Japanese, and maybe a few others down the line after that. Velo has been developing a general trading education series. She's working on the scripts and developing the storyboards for a multi-part series on how to spot trade. While we expect most of our early users will be experienced crypto traders, we'll also be getting newbies. So we want to have a how-to video guide. And this will obviously also help with SEO. So, we haven't shared much for marketing over the last quarter or so. So we've got a lot of things going on, but we'll save, some of these topics for upcoming webinars.
Cool. Thanks for the update, Jerry. Now, I'd like to ask you guys if you have any final conclusion, like any questions, whether it's about marketing, engineering, or product, then please go ahead and ask them now. We'll give you a few minutes, and then we'll wrap up the broadcast. Question from Dougla02: Is there plans for mobile exchange?
Yeah, so we are going to have a mobile interface and mobile access to trading, because we believe that there are a lot of people who are constantly on the move, or they just prefer to have just a lighter device to trade, especially spot traders. So yes, we will have a mobile site and a mobile UI. You may have seen that in our mockups. We will definitely, as we make progress, we'll definitely share it with you.
And I believe he is now corrected to mobile app. So will there also be a mobile app as well as a mobile web interface?
Well, so let me take that. So basically, the way the platform is being developed is that it's responsive to all sorts of resolutions, right? So whether you're on mobile, tablet, desktop, you're going to have access to the platform and from the start. It's been built as a hybrid from the very beginning. In addition, just another note regarding accessibility, there's going to be API access, so you can also do things completely programmatically or develop your own applications to access it as well.
So let me just add in here too, and this is sort of a question back to Doug Leverj too. We certainly want to make sure the experience is seamless and smooth. Would you mind sharing what mobile platform is it that you're using? It'll just help us as one more data point. If you would just want to share that, please.
All right, we'll give a few more minutes to see if anyone else has any questions, and then Shashank will wrap up the broadcast.
Okay, looks like there aren't any more questions for now. So first things first, I want to thank everyone for joining. Thank you for making the time on a weekend. We love your feedback. We love your participation, so keep it coming. Also, last but not the least, I do want to mention the early access or beta is coming soon. So it's only a few more weeks away. So stay tuned. We'll give you more updates as we move through our next set of webinars. There's a webinar every 2 weeks. So look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. And we'll have the product soon in your hands. So thanks again for your patience, and more's coming. Thank you.
Just have time to answer one more question. Can you explain the staking periods from Andrea in the chat?
1 minute. Let me see the question. Sorry.
So why don't I take that actually? So you're asking about staking periods. I suppose that the length in the beginning we have coded it to be approximately 1 week. This could be adjusted depending upon how many people are using it, and whether the preference is to maybe have a shorter period or even a longer period. Down the line, we could even establish multiple ones that are related to certain order books, for example. But for now, we're just going to keep it one as a monolith. But right now, the staking period is about a week. But of course, it's in Ethereum blocks, right? So it's not the time is not measured in calendar. So it's not. I can't tell you exactly how long it is. It varies. And as soon as the platform is live next month, and as soon as there are executions which are charged trading fees, then there'll be FEE tokens generated and dispersed every week to those who have Lev tokens staked. So that'll all be coming into motion next month.
Okay. And by the way, thanks, Doug Leverj too. I see your message there, which says mobile first. Companies that launch with mobile first have a significant advantage for user adoption, and I think you are absolutely right. I totally agree with you. I think that we do want to make sure that, one, you have great experience trading, and that it's easy to trade. And I think both experience and easiness certainly are very much attached to mobile devices of late. It's in our hands, it's accessible, and we want to do it seamlessly. So 100% correct. We agree with you, and that is our intention. As we continue our R&D effort, we want to make sure not only do we have a responsive application that works well across web and mobile, but in due course of time, if required, we will certainly come up with more options around that. So thank you for bringing that up. I think we are totally in agreement there.
Would it be possible to auto-renew the periods and keep staking? Once again from Andrea.
Yes, so it will be done through the client side, but yeah, you will be able to auto renew and auto stake.
Okay, 1 or 2 more minutes for questions, and then we'll end the broadcast. All right, appears there's no more questions. Thank you guys for joining us on the first edition of the YouTube Live with Leverj, and I hope to see you in 2 weeks' time for our next update. Thank you very much. Goodbye.